Introduction of Chanterelle Mushrooms. Chanterelles 101. What's up, everybody? Brian Peacock once again back. Epic Outdoor Adventures out here in the forest today. I've been out every week looking in my spots for chanterelle mushrooms. They're my favorite wild mushroom to collect and eat. I've been out the last 4 weeks every week in my main spots looking, and they've just been so late this year. Everything is really late this year here in Western North Carolina. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, and a lot of my friends and some of the groups that I'm in back home, they've been getting tons of mushrooms already, and it's just the cold lasted a long time here. So I'm in a Dadacious woods. It's a mixed hardwoods, and there's a few conifers, some white pines, maybe some hemlock, and have a lot of oak trees here, a lot of hickory. There's oak, hickory here. There's a lot of holly trees as well. And there's some ash trees. So finally here, and I'm finally finding some chanterelle mushrooms. These are in the Chanterelles genus, and we find, I find at least 8 different species of chanterelles here in Western North Carolina. So this is one of my best spots here, and it's just starting to come up through the leaf litter. So we have a lot of leaf litter, as you can see. It's pretty deep, it's pretty thick. So it takes a minute for these mushrooms to get up through this leaf litter to even be able to see them. But we're going to go through identification of chanterelle mushrooms. All right, like I said, these are my favorite wild edible mushroom to find. They're very easy to identify just by a couple different traits that you guys should know, and I'm going to teach you those traits right now. Okay, so there's only a couple lookalikes for the chanterelle mushrooms, and those would be the jack-o'-lantern and the false chanterelle mushroom. Okay, the jack-o'-lantern mushroom is a poisonous mushroom. It won't kill you, but it sure will make you sick as hell, and you do not want to eat that mushroom. All right, the difference, well, I'm not going to go into the difference yet. Let's introduce you guys. Here is a chanterelle mushroom. All right, I'm going to pick this one just so you guys can see the identifications, but we're going to leave some of the other ones. So here's another one popping up, and this is a good spot right here because there's usually a big flush of them. But here's one there, and let's see, here's another one popping up right here. So they're starting to just come up. All right, so here, this is a chanterelle mushroom. This is a smooth variety. They're called a smooth chanterelle, and the reason that they're called a smooth chanterelle is the underneaths are smooth and you can't see the gills. All right, and actually chanterelles have false gills. They don't have gills like other mushrooms. They have a false gill, which is more of a wrinkle rather than like a knife edge on a regular gill. So the regular gills on mushrooms, like oyster mushrooms and other mushrooms like that, have a deep recess in between each gill, and almost like a knife blade. And their gills will run from the stipe or the stem all the way to the edges of the mushrooms. Okay, now chanterelles have wrinkles for gills. They don't have deep gills, and they also fork they don't go from the stem all the way out in one blade that goes all the way out. So a chanterelle will fork out, and it's really hard to see on these smooth varieties because you really can't see the gills too well. But a chanterelle also has the gills that run down the stipe or the stem. Okay, they don't go in and then just stop right at the stem, and then the stem starts. So the stem comes up, the wrinkles start on the stem, and they push their way all the way up to the edges. All right. Another identifying factor for a chanterelle is they usually only grow single, maybe double. I have found a triple a few times, but they don't normally grow in clusters. All right, now the jack-o'-lanterns that I was talking about before, the poisonous ones, they are orange just like this, okay, and they can look a lot like chanterelles just at the first glance, especially if you don't know the differences. But jack-o'-lanterns usually always grow off of the base of trees or stumps. They will grow off of wood. Jack-o'-lanterns will grow in clusters. There will be 20, 30, 50 mushrooms all coming out of the same spot. So there's big clusters on jack-o'-lanterns. Chanterelles don't cluster, okay? So that's another identifying factor for the chanterelles and the jack-o'-lanterns. All right, here is one more identification for a chanterelle mushroom, okay? We're gonna pop it open. We're just going to split it right down the middle. It's hard to do with one hand here. Now we're going to open it up, okay? And now you see the inside of a chanterelle is white and it's stringy like chicken or string cheese, okay? It'll pull out like string cheese or chicken breast, okay? And chanterelles also smell very fruity, okay? They smell almost like apricots, or have a fruity smell to them. Apricots, I think. That's what they smell like. All right, so chanterelles. Now these chanterelles here in western North Carolina get huge here. Back home in Baltimore, we didn't get these huge chanterelles that they get here. They would get about this big, maybe palm size. But here I find some of these smooths and some of the common chanterelles that I find here can be almost a pound a piece. And they can be, really big. And they'll be that big in a few weeks. But you have to leave them to get that big. Now, problem with leaving is bugs. Bugs really like chanterelles, okay? Slugs love them. Bugs will dig down into them and burrow down into them. So if you pick them, pull them apart like this, and this is a good one. The bugs haven't got to them yet because they're just coming up. So they don't have any tunnels running through them and holes all in them, okay? So those three things that I told you, they grow singly or just doubles, not in clusters. All right, chanterelles grow out of the ground, off of the root systems of hardwood trees, oak trees, hickory trees, mainly the oaks though. That's where I find them, but you can find them also under a couple different other trees, and I believe they do grow under some conifers every now and then. But like the cinnabar chanterelle, is they tend to grow under other trees more than these, and the cinnabars are a really almost a reddish orange rather than this regular orange here. We also get a salmon one, which is a peachy salmony color, and they're also a chanterelle too. So just some info on these chanterelles. Within the next week or two, I'm going to be posting some videos of us foraging and gathering these chanterelles, and we'll show you how to do all that. I'll show you some recipes maybe and what we use them with, how to cook them, and all that stuff at a later video. So I just wanted to introduce you guys to the chanterelles. There's another one right here. Like I said, they're just coming up. So, you know, by next week, we're due to have some rain this week, which actually will really help them. And we just had some rain today. We had a pretty bad storm a couple days ago, and then about a week and a half ago, we had 4 days of flooding rains. So that's really what got this jumping. They really like the heat. Normally, they are out here at the end of May. But here it is, second week of June, and they're just coming up this year. So definitely 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks late coming up this year. So there you go. Here's another, this is a russula right here. This is a red russula. They call that the sickener. Okay, and I'll tell you whether or not it's edible right there. So these are normally bright red on the top, snow white on the bottom with the regular gills there. So all right, but this one's not a normal one. So we'll show you some more red russulas when they come up. There'll be a ton of them as well. Also find a lot of milk caps here as well. So we'll be showing you a bunch of mycology now that everything's starting to come off here in Western North Carolina. I've been really wanting to do the mushroom thing, but there just hasn't been any mushrooms out this year yet, which is crazy because this is a mushroom mecca here. It's like a mushroom heaven here. All right, more about the chanterelles. They come up in the same spots every year, okay? Same spots every year, over and over and over again. So you can go back every year to the same exact spot and find chanterelles. All right, that's the great part about them. They're very predictable, and they're almost come up the same times every year. It goes off of ground temperature and rainfall. So depending on the weather that year will depend on when they come out, how good of flushes you get, and how long they will keep coming out. Usually here in Western North Carolina, I get them at the end of May all the way through the beginning of October, and that's usually the end of the season. Depending on the weather, like I said, they can push into mid-October, and this year they're late coming in, so they're coming in the middle of June this year instead of the middle of May. It's starting to rain again, so I'm gonna probably get off here real fast. Here's one more identifying mushroom for you guys. I'm gonna show it to you really fast, and it's right here. You know what mushroom this is? You don't remember what mushroom this is? Huh?
Milk cap?
No, that's not a milk cap. You don't remember?
Cap?
We used to pick them all the time. You forgot? It's been that long? This is a puffball.
Puffball, yeah.
Yep. This is called a gem-studded puffball, and these are edible as well, okay? You can eat this, and this is actually in the edible stage. You don't want a little black hole forming on the top. Once that little hole starts, you can't eat it, and you want to kind of bust these in half. Hold on a minute, let me bust it in half. All right, just to show you. And the insides, you want them all white like a marshmallow. All right, if they're all white like a marshmallow, they're good to go. You can eat them. They're actually pretty good. They're not too bad. I mean, they're not like one of the choice mushrooms, but definitely edible. You can definitely eat these guys. There are a few puffballs that you might not want to eat, but I'll go into the puffballs at a later date. So, gem-studded puffball. I will put up the binomial name for you. I can't remember that offhand, but remember, white like a marshmallow inside, and they're good to eat. Once the spores start growing, the whole inside will become a gray to a brown, and then these turn into those smoke bombs that I used to puff out when I was a kid. So they turn brown and they get like a papery sack around them, and then you can squeeze them and all the smoke comes out. Well, that's the spores that are actually coming out. So I'm just going to leave this guy here. We're not going to take any mushrooms with us today because there's not enough popping out right now to take. I'm not going to take these small chanterelles because I want them to get bigger before I take them. So we're just going to leave them grow. I'm just here scoping out the situation, making sure that things are coming up, which they are, which is a great thing. So even late is better than not at all. So I'm happy to see that they're coming up. Walking up here real fast just to see if here's another puffball over here for you. There it is right there. And usually these puffballs will grow in big clusters. I mean, not clusters together, but there'll be, 50, 60 of them all around in the same area. But today, I guess they're just starting to come out. Last week, I didn't see any mushrooms. Yeah, that's some old Trimedes. That's not a turkey tail. We have mushrooms coming up. We have rain falling. We have humidity. We have heat. All that is good for these mushrooms, all right? These ferns, the chanterelles love these ferns, and they love all this. I think this is, I think this might be some jewelweed, not jewelweed. Oh gosh, what is this? Like a Chinese bayberry or something like that, maybe. This low, shrubby bush kind of stuff. Can't remember what this is, but it doesn't get too much taller than about 5 foot, and the chanterelles really love to grow inside of this. I think it blocks the sun, it keeps the moisture in, and yeah, there's some there too, isn't it? That's some old there's some old polypores. They're from last year, maybe an artist conch or something like that. Here's some more old Trimedes. I'm pretty sure this was the guild one. And no, it wasn't. Not seeing any more chanterelles coming up, but I know that they're coming up under the leaves. Under the leaf litter, they're popping up through the leaves just right now. I bet you they came up through the leaves probably yesterday or today. So they're just starting now. I'm gonna leave them, like I said. I'm probably not even gonna walk through here too much more, just because I don't want to step on any that are actually coming up through the leaves and break them off. So we're gonna get out of here, guys. Appreciate you watching. I got a lot of mycology coming for you. A lot of mushrooms coming for you. And I've been studying mycology for about 6 or 7 years, really heavy, and I've been studying botany, probably I don't know, 15, 20 years or so. I have all my growing experience is probably over 30 years, but I've just really dug into the botany and the mycology really heavy within the last 10 years. So I study this stuff almost every day, and there's just so much to learn, and it's all very fascinating to me. I love the mushrooms and everything that's all about them. It's amazing that what mushrooms actually do for the world. Without mushrooms, we wouldn't really have any other plants. They actually break down and decompose rotting wood and get all these felled trees back down into the soil. They degrade the leaves as well. They also act as a they can grow and help other plants as well. Some plants grow off of tree roots and mushrooms as well, kind of like the ghost pipe. I'll show you guys some ghost pipe as soon as I see some. I saw some last week and didn't didn't get it. Well, here's some cool little mushrooms here that I don't even know what they are. It's pretty neat. Not really sure what they are. There is no mushrooms that can hurt you by touching them. All right, even if they're poisonous, touching a mushroom and handling a mushroom will not hurt you. Okay, and there are also other ways to identify mushrooms by tasting a mushroom just to the tongue and spitting it out. Usually a bad mushroom that you do not want to eat will be bitter, okay, and ones that you can eat will be pretty bland. All right, so that's another way of identifying. I don't recommend you guys do that until maybe you're into the mushroom game a little bit. All right, one more thing, never take anyone else's word for an identification of a mushroom. Make sure, now, hold on, I'm gonna turn this around real fast. Make sure 110% that you yourself have identified the mushroom that you are going to eat. All right, never trust anyone else's ID. All right, because one mistake could be all it takes. All right, now there isn't a lot of mushrooms that will kill you. There is the deadly galerina. There's also a destroying angel, and there's a few other ones that some amanita varieties as well will put you down. All right, and it's not a very nice experience. It's a long, drawn-out process. Usually it's liver failure and ends up blood poisoning, and it can take 2 to 3 weeks of suffering to actually, die off of it. So definitely don't want to eat it if you don't know what it is. Do some studying. You can look these things up on YouTube and just reassure yourself. Get some field guide books for the area that you live in that will help identify, and maybe even get into some Facebook groups about mushrooms. If you guys want some recommendations, I do have some groups that I'm in that I would be more than happy to give you the information for those. All right, so just comment below and let me know that you'd like some of those groups to get in. All right, so we'll see you next time. I'm gonna be back here probably next week, and we'll start harvesting these chanterelles. I'll get back with another video for you guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that's subscribed to the channel already. The channel's only 7 months old, and I almost have 200 subscribers and almost 200 videos just in 7 months. So I'm pushing out video after video after video, and I'm learning a lot with this editing stuff. I've never been a computer guy. I've never been an electronic kind of guy. I'm more of a simple, primitive kind of person. But I've had to learn some of this computer stuff and this editing just for this channel, and I'm learning a lot. I'm going far with it, and I just appreciate all the support that you guys give. So please comment, share this video to people that you know that want to learn how to identify mushrooms, who like fishing, who like the outdoors, hiking, waterfalls, gardening, all that stuff I have on this channel. So make sure you subscribe to it. Tell your friends to subscribe. I'll see you next time, guys. Thank you. All right, guys, coming on out of the forest there, I found this amanita here. Amanita mushrooms are really cool to me. They're beautiful mushrooms. There's so many different kinds. You can see this little veil that's underneath the cap, and that was the protective skin that covered the gills before this opened up. All right, and that's a sure sign of amanita mushroom. This also looks like a Caesar mushroom, but I don't believe this is a Caesar because it has some of these little white warts on it that are coming off. So this could be Amanita musciara, which would be the Jessie or Gessie or something like that, which is the yellow variety of muscara, or it could be a different amanita. I can't remember that name. I'll look this up. I'll put the link or the name right here for you. All right, so there you go. That's what that is. What I believe it is anyway. If you think it's something else, comment below, you guys that know your mushrooms, and I'd love to hear from you guys. All right, guys, here's one more on the way out. I'm finding this here. Almost looks like a deer mushroom. Almost looks like a deer mushroom, but I'm not quite sure on that either. Definitely not one that I normally eat, so